moving onward, our next presentation is going to be a pretty interesting one in sense of, I would say, I mean, I've studied social services. I just graduated in December. Self-discovery and understanding, and I also did some stuff on my thesis about what kind of players you are. Are you an immersive player? Are you a social player? And I think when we put that into game design, you might find something interesting from this next one. Please welcome Jon Jelinski.
Okay, let's see if I can figure this out. Okay, that's my name. Whoa, hello. Great, thank you for having me. I'm Jon. I'm in the games industry for 6 years, over 6 years now. I worked on 7 commercial games, and currently I'm a backend programmer at Metacore. And this is the least important slide, so let's go on. I want to ask a question to everyone today. When you make games, are you serving the player, or are you serving this yourself? This is a question which was very important in my career, and I feel the moment I really started to ask myself that question, I really became a much better game developer, and I feel that the games I was making, they also became much better. And I want to explain today why that is. So let's start with a little bit with the story time. A few weeks ago, I was asked to talk in front of game dev students, in front of you, and I was thinking about what is something I would like to share, what is something I would have liked to hear when I was in your shoes, dreaming about a job in the games industry, really like being passionate about games, wanting to make great games. What is something that I learned over the years maybe that really changed how I make games? And I had this opportunity very early when I was still studying that I got an internship at a games company back in Munich. And it was such a great opportunity where I knew that I'm just going to show them I'm so passionate, I'm so capable, so that I surely get hired, and then my dream will come true and I will be able to make great games. So I'm a programmer. So as a programmer, I was thinking, what could I do to really show it to everyone, that I'm so capable and passionate and that I can really do a great job. And as a programmer, you write code, you create technology. And I was then thinking, I was just going to make the best code ever. I'm going to make the craziest technology, and everyone's going to like me, and I'm going to get hired. So I did that. And with every feature I was working on, I was always thinking, okay, what can I add to that? Is there some other crazy thing I can add on top of that? Can I make some internal UI really beautiful and things like that? And I was also always thinking, like, how can I impress my programmer colleagues? I found some new way of programming something. Okay, let's use that. That's really fancy and really cool. And it worked. Now I'm still in the games industry, so I didn't do everything wrong. But over the years, I was kind of asking the question, what is my goal here actually again? Let's go back to the very beginning. When I was playing games, dreaming of becoming a game developer, and I was thinking about, what is my goal? What is the why? Why am I making games? And for me, the answer is I want to make great games, and I want people to enjoy those games. So with that kind of question in mind, I realized, how do you make a great game? Is it complex technology? Is it some beautiful art? Is it some super smart game design systems? Things like that. And I think that they can all play a part in that. And if it's good for the game, if those specific things really are what the game needs, then it can really create a great game. And the important question here I realized is that, are those things, is the complex technology, is the beautiful art, is the smart design system, is this really serving the player or not? So, because one thing to think about is that making games is hard. That's really, I think everyone realized this the moment they started making games. And if we lose ourselves and focus too much on making some beautiful art, some complex technology and things like that, we need to spend a lot of time and energy and resources on that. And the obvious problem is that all of those things are unfortunately limited, especially in the games industry where the competition is so tough. So with that limited time and things like that, yes. So, and then some of you might think, okay, that's so obvious, Jon, what are you talking about? Obviously, we should focus on the things that really serve the player. But I learned that this is actually a bit of a tricky topic because, first of all, this is happening to me all the time. I explained my story that I was doing that. I was creating crazy technology which maybe was not serving the player. I wanted to impress my colleagues. And this is also something why I wanted to share this with you, is because I still see this all the time. There could be someone who's working for 20 years in the games industry and they are still doing things maybe that don't serve the player. They don't spend their time most wisely on things that actually serve the player. And I believe there are a few things that are in play here. One thing is the ego. Like, everyone is kind of somehow attached to that, and the work they do, that's very, very close to who they are and what they think other people think about them. Another thing is maybe imposter syndrome, that you might think like you're not good at your job, you're good enough, and everyone assumes you're an imposter, so you gotta make some crazy stuff so you can convince everyone otherwise. Another thing is you want to impress your colleagues. That's what I was doing. And one other thing as well is that doing something and basically start walking always feels much better and feels much easier than to step back and reflect. Because there you need to be like very honest with yourself and maybe realize that some initial things you thought you wanted to do or you should do are not good. But in my opinion, that time invested into really stepping back and really reflecting on, is this thing I wanted to do, is this really serving the player or not? And I think one additional thing also to think about is not only what is something we should do, how should we do something, but I think even more important is what is something we don't have to do, because it's not needed. We don't need that crazy technology. Maybe we can get away with some much simpler technology, and then we are still serving the same player, or maybe we serve the player even more. Because the summary here, in my opinion, is that as a game developer, your job is not to make complex technology, your job is not to make beautiful art, your job is not to design some smart systems, your job is to serve the player. And to do that, you might do all of those other things I just mentioned, but that's your main priority, in my opinion, and I think it's very important to always keep that focus, keep that as a mantra. Are we, with what we are doing, really serving the player or not? And if you do that, if you keep that focus on really serving the player, then a few things will happen. First, I think you will get things done faster, or you kind of create a certain feature you want to try out much faster, because you didn't focus on making it complex or like make the tech behind it very interesting and complex, and it allows you to iterate more. By always keeping the focus on, is it really serving the player or not, you will automatically as well better serve your target audience. Just realizing that you have a specific target audience and really focusing on that will already make it much better. And another thing that that's really close to my heart is that when you have spent 3 months implementing some technology, some crazy code feature, and then you realize your players hate it, it's so hard to get that out of the game again and remove it again. But you need to do that because removing that is better for the game. So I believe that if you really focus and keep that in mind, like, am I serving the player or not, you are able to do all of these things, and that will make you, like, allow you to make better games. So, too long didn't read, or for anyone who just woke up, in my opinion, my advice, my takeaway here is be pragmatic, be humble, and focus on what serves the player. Thank you.